Welcome to the Tim Booker channel, where wisdom deserves to be spread. Wishing you a pleasant listening experience. In this episode, we will be decoding Nudging Fast and Slow. The author of this book, Stanton, is one of the prominent figures in behavioral economics. Nudging refers to a classic collaboration between Nobel laureate Richard Thaler and Stanton. Additionally, Stanton is also a research collaborator with Daniel Kahneman, the author of Thinking, Fast and Slow. Now, Stanton has released a new book that further advances the theory of behavioral economics based on these two seminal works. However, after reading the book, I found that it focuses not on further revealing human irrational behavior through behavioral economics experiments, but rather on the ethical implications of nudging. Behavioral economists have extensively proven through experiments that real humans are not purely rational economic agents who consistently calculate pros and cons to make optimal decisions. Instead, human decision-making systems are flawed, often influenced by experiences, intuition, impulses, and inertia, leading to less rational or even harmful choices. Nudging is the concept of policymakers leveraging these cognitive biases to help people make better decisions. For instance, using graphical warnings on cigarette packs to reduce smoking or changing the display of dishes in self-service restaurants to aid weight control. Stanton, who has worked for the U.S. government, particularly during the Obama administration, played a significant role in implementing many nudging policies through the White House Social and Behavioral Sciences team. His partner, Richard Thaler, also provided nudging policy advice for the UK's Cameron government, yielding significant results. As of 2019, 130 countries worldwide have adopted nudging policies, making it one of the most widely applied economic recommendations to date. However, nudging policies have faced criticism and questioning. Some argue that such policies infringe on personal autonomy, as individuals should be responsible for their own decisions and their consequences. They fear that although these policies may increase social welfare, they could harm individual autonomy and intrinsic motivation. Hence, the question remains, is nudging a form of paternalistic policy, and should it be widely promoted? Stanton wrote this book to provide a positive response to these doubts. His conclusion is that nudging policies do not harm personal autonomy, instead, they enhance it. Let's delve into how Stanton defends nudging policies against these critiques. First, let's set the background on why nudging policies are popular and widely adopted by governments worldwide. As mentioned earlier, human decision-making systems are flawed, leading to non-fully rational decisions. To increase social welfare, policymakers need to find ways to guide people toward more rational behaviors, such as developing healthier habits, environmental consciousness, or altruism. There are three approaches to achieve this. The first is through direct commands and prohibitions, like environmental protection laws, smoking bans, or alcohol restrictions. However, such orders may encounter resistance or loopholes. The second approach involves using financial incentives to motivate behavioral change, like paying individuals for blood donation or rewarding students for reading books. While effective in the short term, financial incentives may crowd out intrinsic motivation, leading to unintended consequences. The third approach, nudging, avoids futile struggles against cognitive biases. Instead, policymakers cleverly leverage these biases to steer people towards better choices. For example, placing healthy food prominently in self-service restaurants or drawing a fly in urinals to improve hygiene. According to surveys conducted by Stanton, most publics in various countries, including the US and China, support nudging policies. However, critics argue that nudging manipulates people's behavior without their awareness, potentially undermining personal autonomy and serving hidden political agendas. In conclusion, while nudging policies have been successful in improving social welfare, they need to be implemented with caution to respect individual autonomy and avoid unintended consequences. In the face of such criticism, Stanton, one of the main proponents of nudging policies, responds to the following points. The first criticism he addresses is that critics' understanding of nudging theory is one-sided. This brings us to Daniel Kahneman's book, Thinking, Fast and Slow, where he divides human cognitive systems into two categories. System 1, also known as the fast system, relies on intuitive unconscious thinking, while System 2, also known as the slow system, requires conscious thinking and attention. In daily life, the fast system usually dominates, but its intuitive thinking mode also has flaws, leading to various cognitive biases. In other words, the fast system is more susceptible to external signals. Nudging policies are often designed to target the fast system, such as the default savings rule, which leverages the fast system's inertia and habit. Similarly, the arrangement of items in self-service restaurants exploits the fast system's selective assistance and flaws. Nudging policies use human cognitive biases to achieve their goals, which is the fundamental reason for criticism. However, Stanton points out that the above is just one type of nudging policy. In reality, there are two types of nudging policies, those targeting the fast system and those targeting the slow system. The former includes graphical warnings, default settings, and more, while the latter involves information disclosure, fact presentation, and so on. Stanton refers to nudges targeting the slow system as educational nudges, because they aim to educate the public. Nudges targeting the fast system are called non-educational nudges. For instance, in some countries, cigarette packs feature close-up images of lung cancer patients, which aim to evoke fear, representing a non-educational nudge. On the other hand, some countries print warnings about the harmful effects of smoking or the number of deaths due to lung cancer, which represents an educational nudge. Stanton believes that if you consider non-educational nudges as exploiting human cognitive biases, then educational nudges should not be considered as such. Educational nudges, in fact, provide more information and guide the public to consider issues they may have overlooked, thus enhancing their cognitive abilities. Stanton speculates that educational nudges may be more popular than non-educational nudges. To explore this further, Stanton designed a series of survey questionnaires to gauge public preferences. In the first round of questionnaires, Stanton proposed 34 nudging schemes and asked for public opinions. The results showed that 22 schemes received support from the majority, while 12 faced opposition. Surprisingly, the responses were evenly split between educational and non-educational nudges. There was no clear preference for one over the other. In the subsequent questionnaires, Stanton presented both educational and non-educational nudges while adding additional information that non-educational nudges were significantly more efficient. For example, graphical warnings reduced smoking rates by 20% compared to 5% for information disclosure. Similarly, automatic savings plans had a participation rate of at least 90% compared to 55% for financial training. As a result, public support for non-educational nudges increased significantly. In summary, Stanton's research shows that when not explicitly distinguishing between educational and non-educational nudges, public preferences for these two types of nudges are similar. However, when forced to choose between the two, people tend to prefer educational nudges. Yet, if there is clear evidence that non-educational nudges are more efficient, people will also support them. Therefore, it cannot be concluded that one type of nudge is inherently better than the other, as it depends on factors like cost-benefit considerations and maintaining people's autonomy. Thad Stanton's second response to critics suggests that sometimes non-educational nudges may be more effective in preserving people's autonomy compared to educational nudges. The reason lies in the limited time, experiences, and abilities of individuals. People are more inclined to make choices on matters they are interested in or consider crucial, rather than making calculations and decisions all the time. Educational nudges often require individuals to invest significant cognitive resources and time in making choices, even for relatively minor issues. This can become burdensome and hinder their interests when they lack relevant knowledge or face emotional dilemmas. Stanton uses examples like deciding the route to the airport with a taxi driver or the decision of organ donation for a deceased family member. In such cases, non-educational nudges with default settings might be more appropriate and respectful of people's freedom and not to choose actively. Non-educational nudges automatically operate and save people valuable time and cognitive resources. By allowing individuals to focus on what they consider more important, non-educational nudges actually enhance their autonomy. Stanton emphasizes that people cherish the tranquility of their thoughts, and time is one of the most precious gifts in life. In conclusion, Stanton explores the effectiveness of both educational and non-educational nudges in public policy. While educational nudges encourage active decision-making, they may not always be suitable, particularly in situations where decision-making becomes burdensome. Non-educational nudges, on the other hand, respect individuals' freedom not to choose actively and offer efficiency in certain cases. With the advancement of artificial intelligence, Stanton predicts a future where personalized default rules will be widespread, leading to a nudged world full of default settings. In such a world, individuals will need to learn when to make proactive choices and when to rely on default settings to nudge themselves effectively. Congratulations, you have completed another book summary. Thank you for your support and attention. Please subscribe to the Tim Booker channel and share it with your family and friends. Wisdom is worth spreading, and together, we can create a better future. Thank you, and goodbye.